Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Utpala, and this is class 4 of Foundation Course 8 on Death and the Realms of Existence. Thank you for coming today. Before we get started, um, let's settle our minds and be very clear about our motivation in taking this course, in being here for this class today. This precious life that we have right now, where we're born as a human and we have the ability to think, to reason. Our health is relatively good. We're not so sick that we can't think. We have the ability to take in new information and consider it, weigh it. We have some recognition that our life could be better than it is now. That this life is somehow dissatisfactory. We have an interest in making our life better, of being happier. Not just for ourselves, but for people around us. we came into contact with the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha. We have an interest in those teachings. We've been studying them for however long we have. Doing our best to put the teachings into practice in our lives. Learning how our actions affect our future experience. And that it's not that things are coming at us, but that things come from us. All of this is so extremely rare. So very precious. And this life we have now will come to an end. We don't know when. So let's take advantage of every moment we do have. Let's use every moment to further perfect our mind. So that we can become the highest kind of being. One who, even without thought, helps all other beings and lives in a state of bliss. May every moment in this class be a cause for reaching that state. And if you'd like to join me in prayers, you're welcome. Sashi Puki Jukshin Metok Drum Rira Blingshi Ninde Gempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwarki Drokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kanyayatayami Sangye Chudam Suki Chuknam La Jangchu Partu Dakni Kapstu Chin Daki Chushe Ki Pe Sunam Ki Jola Pinchir Sangye Juparso Sangye Chudam Soki Chuknam La Changchu Partu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chishe Ki Pe Sunam Ki Jola Pinchir Sangye Chuparsho Sangye Chudam Soki Chukdam La Changchu Partu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chishe Ki Pe Sunam Ki Chola Pinchir Sangye Druparsho. So before we get started, today we're going to be talking about this suffering, or basically what life is like for beings who are in the, we're still in the desire realm, so who take form as a human or as a pleasure being, a deva. So does anybody have questions from previous classes? No? Okay, we will dive right in. So we talked about previously craving spirits, right? And animals. And so today we'll talk about humans and devas, or pleasure beings. We don't talk about what the world looks like. Remember, we talked in an earlier class that there are four types of humans based on what continent they live on, that there are four continents. Um, but that comes later in the course where we talk about how worlds come into being and what they look like. So we are, for this class, we are basing our discussion of humans and devas. Sorry, I'm trying to find my document. It's trying to be very clever about it, but obviously not so good. Okay. We are this class is based on a book by Panchen Losang Chuki Gelsen. Panchen is it's kind of a mix of words. It's very interesting. Uh, Pan is short for Pandita, which is a Sanskrit word. And Chen is short for Chenmo, which is a Tibetan word. So Panchen it is a mix. It's kind of like my ordained name. I'm Jampa Utpala. My first name is from the Tibetan language. And my second name, Utpala, is from the Sanskrit language. So he's like that. And a Panchen, it means a Buddhist master teacher. And his name is Losong Chiki Gyaltsen. Now, Losong means pure mind. And he got that part of his name from his teacher, the one who ordained him, who gave him ordination. And who is his teacher but Jetsun Kappa? And Jetsun Kappa's ordination name is Losong Drakpa. So that's where Losong Chuki Gyaltsen gets his first name. So Losong is pure mind. Chuki Gyaltsen is a phrase that means banner or flag of the Dharma. Now, Losong Chuki Gyaltsen was the first Panchen Lama, and that is a tradition now. They say that Panchen Lamas and the Dalai Lama, their lives may overlap a bit, but when the Dalai Lama is, of age and teaching and so on, the Panchen Lama is usually just a baby. And then likewise, when one Dalai Lama passes on and the next one comes, then the Panchen Lama, who was a baby during his life, is now the main teacher. So that's the tradition of the relationship between a Panchen Lama and a Dalai Lama in Tibet. So for Losong Chuki Gyaltsen, we don't know his exact dates, but we're pretty sure it was 1567 to 1662. He is an extraordinary author that I don't know, you may be fortunate to have this book, which I know you can't read, the type is too small, but it just came out. It's Geshe Michael's translation of Devil Debates an Angel, this extraordinary, exquisite book of where the devil, which is misunderstanding reality, debates an angel who is the wisdom that understands reality. And you notice it's very fat. It's a very thick book. There are many misunderstanding brings up very subtle misunderstandings, things that if we were to read this book, we would understand are maybe misunderstandings that we have about emptiness, about the lack of a self nature, the things. And the angel always responds, wisdom responds. So he wrote this book. And I hope you have the opportunity to come into contact with it. Geshe Michael has also been teaching from this book for many years. It's one of my favorite courses. So let's bring it back, Utpala, to what we're talking about today. Losang Chiki Gyaltsen, he wrote a book called Delam. And this is one of the Lam Rim texts in the genre of Buddhist literature. This is the genre of steps to enlightenment, Lam Rim. And there are many Lam Rims. There's Jamchuki Junmei, which is Lord Atisha's lamp on the path to enlightenment. There are 3 by Je Tsongkhapa, Lamrim Chenmo, which we've talked about before, which is the great book on the steps to enlightenment. There's Lamrim Dring. Dring means medium, so medium length book. And then Lamrim Duden, which means shorter book. And he's even gone shorter than that. If you've taken Foundation Course 1, the 3 principal paths, that's a very short Lam Rim itself. So day usually means bliss or happiness. But here it's short for Dela. Dela. And that means easy. Easy. And Lam means path. So Losang Chökyi Gyaltsen's book is the easy path to enlightenment. It's very brief. It's very beautiful. It's in verse. And it's very difficult. So we're going to use a commentary. And this commentary is by Ngultrudhamma Bhadra. I don't know why that font size got so big. That's funny. Ngultrudhamma Bhadra. He's also an important author. And in the study of Diamond Way, if you go on to enter the Diamond Way, if you haven't already, and study with someone who took the 18 courses of the Diamond Way, you will become familiar with Notu Dhammapada. He has written commentaries on Bhaja Yogini. Ngolchu means quicksilver, which is a kind of, I guess, a kind of metal that I can't, that, oh, the word is escaping me right now. Oh, alchemy. It's like a metal that you use in alchemy to transform an object from one kind of substance to another kind of substance. So Quicksilver is like that. That's his first name, and as is our theme for today, the last part of his name, Dharmapada, is Sanskrit. So we've got a mix of people with both Tibetan and Sanskrit names. I didn't know I was in such good company, right? So the book that his commentary that we're studying is called Rinchen Pangzu. Rinchen Pangzu. Rinchen means a jewel or something precious. Could also be gold or silver. But normally it's talking about gemstones. And Pengzhi means, you may recognize the zi from when we were talking about the Abhidharma Kosha. This is the word for treasure house, zi. But Pengzhi is like a big chest or a big box, big heavy box that holds precious things. So it's not quite a big building, but it's a big box. So that's the name of his commentary that we're using, a chest of jewels. And the Panchen Lama says, Losang Chiki Gyaltsen, he says, if you want to understand about humans and pleasure beings, if you want to understand their life, then you have to understand Dukngel Truk. Dukngel Truk. Dukngel means suffering. And Truk means six. So if we want to understand the lives of humans and pleasure beings, we have to understand the six kinds of suffering. Now, if in the Long Rim texts, we'll see different presentations of the suffering, of suffering. There, there's 3 sufferings and the 4 sufferings and the 6 sufferings. So Losang Chukyi Gyaltsen focuses on the 6 kinds of suffering, and they're these 6 are not talked about as much as the other 2, the 3 or the 4. So I think it's really nice to go through them and well, just remind ourselves of what suffering is. And you may talk with a friend like who asks you, why are you studying Buddhism? And if you say something like, well, all life is suffering, and I want to know how to get out of suffering. And like most humans, not all of them, but most would say, you know, why are you focusing so much on suffering? Like, life is pretty good. Yeah, there are problems sometimes, but life is really good. And then you may bring up the 4 kinds of suffering. I have to get this out of the way. There we go. Kewa Dankawa Nawa Chiwa. And that's the 4 sufferings are birth, aging, sickness, and death. And they'll say, but all those are basically, I'm not sick all the time, and I don't remember being born. Yeah, I'm getting old, but so far it's pretty I'm dealing with it okay. And death, that's a long ways away. We don't think much about suffering. I mean, other than a few people, like I was one who did think about suffering a lot before I met the Buddhist teachings, because I was suffering for no reason. Like I wasn't sick. I wasn't in a situation of being in danger or anything like that, but I was horribly depressed, suicidal. And I didn't understand why. There's no good reason why I should be so sad and suffer so much. But most people don't think about that, you know? They get up, they take care of themselves and their families, and they enjoy life. And they don't think about suffering so much, except when they get sick or something. But that's short-lived. Usually when we get sick, we get better. But we do have suffering all the time. We in this kind of life, if you're in the kind of life that I'm in, which is I'm being forced to experience things based on what I did in the past. I'm compelled, I'm forced to suffer. I'm forced to repeatedly take on birth, get sick, get old, and die over and over and over again. But let's talk about the six kinds of suffering. The first of the six is called Ngepa Mepa. Please, if you would like to, say Ngepa Mepa. This one is pretty nasty. They all are pretty nasty, but Ngepa means certainty, to be certain. Ngepa. And Mepa is a lack or doesn't exist. So we have no certainty. No certainty. Things are always moving, always shifting. Like with friends, for example, or people we get along with. Something happens and we don't get along with each other anymore. People we don't get along with, things shift and we do get along with them. We can't say with certainty that the person who is my friend today will be my friend tomorrow. We don't know. And if we look at our own experience, we can see that this is true. Things happen. Relationships we have with other people change. Whether relationships are just friends or romantic relationships or work relationships, things shift. We cannot rely on the relationship staying the way it is. You know, one day we can say, oh, I really like this job that I have. And then, next week you get some other project or something happens and you hate the job. And even in things like nutrition, what nutritionists say about what is good for us to eat and what is bad for us to eat. I'm old enough now where I've seen things, this is, don't eat this is not good. And then, 20 years later, eat this, it's really good. It's the same thing. And then 20 years later, oh, no, 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 don't eat that. It it's constantly changing what's healthy and what's not healthy, according to the scientists. It's constantly changing. But the things haven't changed. The person who was our friend, they didn't change. Um, the kind of food that was good and then bad, it didn't change. The job that we like and the job that we don't like, it didn't change. Our perceptions change. Our projections, the seeds that are ripening, change. Food being good for us to eat and bad for us to eat, both of those were valid, were true. But our projections changed. Remember, we talked about how in every finger snap, there's 64 karmic seeds ripening into projections. For us to continue to see someone, for example, as our friend, something we enjoy, someone we enjoy, it's a ripening of 64 karmic seeds every instant. To have someone appear to us to be friendly for a week, that's a lot of karmic seeds. A lot of karmic seeds. An extraordinary amount of karma. An extraordinary, we must have done in the past a lot of friendly, helpful things for other people in order to have this experience now. So people who've been married for like 60 years or more, it's really quite amazing. The karma that they each had created to see each other as someone they want to live their life with. It's amazing. I mentioned this because today is the anniversary of Geshe Michael and Veronica. So they also have created amazing good seeds to be with each other in some form or another since they were teenagers. So that takes an amazing amount of karma. And because things depend on those projections ripening, we know that they will wear out. Karma will wear out. And then what's left is something negative will pop up. Something that we did to harm somebody else in the past that will ripen. The person, it's not that the person changed, the other person, it's that our karmic seeds change. That's how we age. That's how we get old. It's not that this body is getting wrinkles and gray hair and bad teeth and bad eyes and etc., etc., etc. It's that my projections are changing. The seeds that are projecting this life, Utpala, they're wearing out. And others are ripening, bringing, ugliness and sickness and inabilities are ripening. So everything we experience is like that. If you're like me and are trapped in this cycle of suffering, because everything we experience is based on the ripening of karma, things will shift. That's the nature of our existence in this cycle. Karma will ripen. Karma of a similar type will continue to ripen. And then it wears out. And other karma ripens. It's all our projection. And it's real. It's not that we're suffering for no good reason. We're projecting things shifting all the time. We can take, some comfort in understanding that this is what's going on. Like when we lose a job, or when a friend doesn't want to be around us anymore, or when a partner leaves us, it's just a shift in karmic seeds ripening. We can look at those things that happen in our life, those fluctuations as they happen, as signs, as indicators of what kind of seeds we should be planting now if we don't want to have this experience anymore. When we lose a job that we love, yes, we will suffer and be sad, but also we can say, oh, I must have done something to somebody else in the past that kept them from doing the kind of work that they love to do. I'm going to plant seeds now. I'm going to help someone find what their passion is in life and help them find a kind of work that brings them joy. And you plant seeds. So all of these fluctuations, even when it goes up, and it feels good, we meet the love of our life. That's also a sign that if we enjoy it, if what our projections are bringing us gives us pleasure, then we should keep planting seeds for more of the same. If we find the love of our life, then we should help others not be lonely. We should be a friend to other people. So that's the first kind of suffering of the six. There's no certainty. The second kind of suffering is ngom mishepa. Ngom mishepa. It's another nasty one, but they all are nasty. Ngom mishepa is like, I don't know, I think I'm the oldest one in this Zoom call by quite a bit of many, many years. So you may not know this song, but there was a song by the Rolling Stones way back in my youth. And it was called I Can't Get No Satisfaction. It's a big hit. And that's what this suffering is. No satisfaction. If you've never heard of who the Rolling Stones are, then I will really feel old. Because they're still alive, some of them. Okay, no satisfaction. So here, the Panchen Lama explains it as we see something that we want, and we go and we get it, we obtain it, and in a way we bring it into into our being, into us. Like it's easy with food. We can see, yes, that works. We see ice cream. We would like to have ice cream. We go and we get ice cream and then we eat it. We bring it into ourselves. But that's also the case with other things too, like a car. We we would we see a car we would like, we go and we get it, and then it's like our car. It becomes a part of us, our car. And the same with anything, my phone, my pen. But the thing is, when we get something, we're expecting to be happy when we get this thing that we want. But the happiness that we get from this thing, it doesn't last. With anything, we're constantly going after things, desiring things, thinking that thing will make me happy. And they never, ever do. Maybe for a short time, but it's never lasting. The Panchen Lama talks about how uh, when we get things, when we go after and get things that we want, after we digest them, after we take them in, we only want more or different or better, and we suffer from that. The pursuit of happiness is really the pursuit of suffering. And we have to watch, even is it the case with going to Dharma classes? I've watched my mind over the years when a new course is announced by my teacher. I'm so excited. Oh, ooh, another course. Something new. But do I feel the same way about that course now as I did when it was first being offered? Actually, yes, actually, I actually like them more. But anyway, so maybe that's not a good example. Oh, maybe like a a TV series. If you watch TV, um, we watch one show and it's really interesting, and the actors are very accomplished. The stories is exciting. And then in the second season, it starts to get not so interesting. That's pretty much what happens with all those TV shows. It's the nature of our mind. It's the nature of being in this uh, kind of existence to always want more. And every time we get something, we want more, or we want better or bigger. So that's the second kind of suffering. The third kind of suffering is yang lundorwa. Yang lundorwa. Yang, that means over and over, over and over. And we are going to see this phrase over and over. Lundorwa, excuse me. Lundorwa means to shed your body, to die. At the mind is our mind, which is just clear and aware, right? And that we have instance of being clear and aware. And that string or stream of instance, we call that our mind. That mind had no beginning and will have no end. This particular body, this has a beginning and an end. The very, very subtle body, which we learn more about in the Diamond Way, that subtle body, which is more like energy, as opposed to gross physical stuff. It like the mind, it's a stream of energy. So the energy takes on all this gross big stuff, and then it sheds that, and then goes on to the next kind of distance. So shedding, or shedding our bodies over and over again is, talking about the process of having to die repeatedly. And I guess the tragedy is that we uh, that we don't really remember. We don't remember our death from our previous life. And we have some experience of seeing other people die around us. And, some people die, it's not painful. Some people die and it's really looks really painful. Alexi is over and over again doing course 8. Okay, so giving up, uh, shedding the body, um, it's a little deeper than just shedding this body. So when we talked about um, the second kind of suffering, no satisfaction, we had a contradiction, right? The contradiction was we were going after something in order for it to bring us happiness. And then when we get it, we're not happy. We become unhappy. We may be happy for a short period of time. So that's the contradiction. This one has a contradiction as well. This particular body we have in this life, we're very precious about it. We bathe it, we adorn it with clothing. We put creams on to keep it soft. We care very much that nothing harm it. We care very much that it feels good. We take care of this one far more than we take care of anyone else. The one exception may be mothers. Mothers, at least in my experience with my mother, it seems she cared for us kids more than she cared for herself. But that's as far as it went. There's billions of us on this planet. And we care for this one out of billions. We have this prejudice. We make sure that this one is fed. We make sure this one has enough sleep. We make sure this one has an interesting life. We make sure this one has love. We have to give this up. It doesn't last. This is a very temporary situation. And as we'll talk about later, we don't know just how temporary it is. We're going to lose it. We've lost so many bodies. That, you know, if we were to take a grain of sand for each body we've lost, it would be far more than this earth. We've lost countless bodies. So we have this unreasonable prejudice about our body, unreasonable favoritism for this one. And because of that, we, like we talked about with craving spirits, we hold on to things, you know. Oh, that ice cream I got for me, you know, I didn't get that to share with anybody else. Oh, that money I'm setting aside for my future. I can't share any of that with you. Oh, this jacket that I wear once a year. It's important that it's in my closet so I can wear it once a year. I, I'm not going to give it away to someone else. Stinginess. So we take care of this body, but it's only going to leave us. We can't take any of it with us. What we do take with us are the seeds that we planted in all the actions that we did, having prejudice for this one, not caring about all the other ones. So we care a lot for this body, but all it will do is leave us and bring us suffering. The important point is that in caring about this one, in having prejudice towards this one at the exclusion of everyone else, we're planting negative seeds. And and we're planting a lot of them, right? We're creating our own future suffering. We can we can just to say briefly, we can, as we take care of this body, we can make it a Dharma practice. We can wear a nice shirt to as an offering of beauty for other people that we meet, with the intention that they're attracted to be with us, with our motivation being we can share the Dharma with them. We can share the teachings of the Buddha with them in not pushing religion, but being someone who can share this wisdom in everyday language. So you can take care of your body like that. Be conscious of it, though. I'm taking care of this body. I'm taking this medicine. I'm drinking this water. I'm eating this food. I'm wearing this clothing. I'm getting this sleep now so that I can best serve other people. It's not that I'm the best. I'm one of billions, and this one is going to die. It's going to go away. I'm doing it only because so that I can serve other people. So we can make it a practice and not just uh, self-centered, stingy behavior. Okay, the fourth kind of suffering in the six kinds of suffering is called Yang Yang Ningsam Jorwa. Yang Yang Ningsam Jorwa. So Yang Yang, over and over again. Ningsam Jorwa, this is a word where if you've been coming to the mixed nuts translation, Sugong's text on the wheel of life, we've been in this particular topic for a while. Ningsam Jorwa it means crossing the threshold. And what it means is we've given up this, we've shed this body, and now we're going to cross the threshold into a new life, into a new body. So this suffering is taking on birth over and over and over again. So there's an energy, a karmic energy that pushes us across the threshold from one life into a new life, into the womb of our mother, for example. And there are certain karmic energies ripening on that threshold in that period of time. And all of those karmic seeds that are ripening and pushing us across the threshold, they're all suffering. They're all suffering. Part of that karmic energy or seed that threw us into this life that we have right now, there's like a stream of, because just innumerable karmic seeds ripening this life, that threw us over the threshold from our last life into this life. Countless numbers of seeds ripening this life, and those seeds are wearing out. Those seeds will end, and we will get old. We will get sick. We will die. We're doomed to get old, get sick, and die by being born. That is the cause for getting old and sick and dying. It's inevitable. The same energy that made us young and smart and active and healthy. The same karmic energy is going to make us ugly and old and decrepit and will make us die. We're going to study death meditation in our last two classes. So we'll get more into this. Yay. So what's the difference between suffering 3 and suffering 4? The suffering of having to shed this body over and over again. That was the third kind of the 6 sufferings. And the fourth, which means taking on a new body or crossing the threshold into a new life over and over again. So the emphasis on the third suffering is that we have this prejudice towards this body, that we have this extreme favoritism about this body, and that in that favoritism we're planting a number of negative seeds. And then this fourth suffering of crossing the threshold is more focused on that the energy that forced us to take this rebirth is going to bring us suffering. There's a story of a king who, in his kingdom, the water was infected, somehow got poisoned, and people started going crazy drinking this water. And the king didn't drink the water because he didn't want to go crazy. But it was the only water in all of the kingdom. Everyone around him is going crazy. He's holding out for as long as he can. But then he realizes he has to drink water or he's going to die. So he gets some charcoal and he puts a big X on his forehead before he takes a sip of water, so that he'll remember that it's the water that made him crazy. But, he drinks the water, he goes crazy, and he's like, what the hell is this X on my forehead? What does that mean? We won't remember this. We won't remember this. Next life, when we pass the threshold. Everything is lost. We have a very small window of opportunity to take advantage of this life, take advantage of, this kind of life, take advantage of our interest in the teaching. take advantage of being able to put into practice the teachings. And hopefully we can practice seriously. I mean, we can have fun while we practice, that's fine. But like devote ourselves to putting into practice the teachings that will help us get out of suffering. We should meditate every day. We should see emptiness directly. We should, generate or have all the realizations that we possibly can. We should practice. We should enter the diamond way. We should keep our vows before we get why we're here, before we forget. The fifth kind of suffering is yang tomen dugyurwa. Yang we know over and over. Tomen, that's just two words together, to and men. To means high, and men means low. Yarwa means to change. So this is another kind of, remember the first one was no certainty, where things were cycling. That, we could never be sure that our friend today will be our friend tomorrow. Here, this is that we are going to keep cycling in our lives. We're going to be like riding waves, and the waves will peak and crest, and the waves will have depressions. There are times that we'll have lots of money in the bank and a great job, and everything's going our way. And then we find out we've got a health problem, and we can't work, and we start getting sick. And it's really miserable. And then someone invents a cure, and we get the cure, and it makes us healthy, and we find a job we love even more than the job we had before, and we're riding high. And then the company we're working for goes out of business, and we lose our job, and nobody else wants to hire us. So over and over in our one lifetime, we're going through these waves of being high and being low in different ways. The older you are, the more you realize that this is true. I remember when I first was riding the wave, or first was consciously aware of it. This is before I came into contact with the Buddhist teachings. I had the best job. I worked for a governor of a state. And I was making more money than I ever made and more money than I ever thought possible for a public servant. And I got accepted to an Ivy League graduate school. And it was so interesting, and everything was so amazing and wonderful. And then while I was there at school, I was taking 1 year off to do this, to get this degree. The governor got really sick, really sick. And he said he wasn't going to run again to be elected again as governor. And I panicked. That's my job. Oh my gosh. What am I going to do? I was totally in a panic. And things were horrible. I get back home and you have a degree from an Ivy League school? Well, why would you want to work for us? We won't hire you. You're overqualified. But it was devastating being in that trough. And it was exhilarating being up at that high. But that has just continued over and over and over and over in my life. This will just keep happening. Um, Wilster Dhamma explains it in 3 ways. First is position. Like we get a high position, and it must fall. This happens in government, this happens in business. It just happens everywhere. Second is relationships. Anyone we've ever connected with, the nature of that relationship, like in birth there is death, birth is the cause of death. Coming together in a relationship is the cause for it to split apart. You must split with them. And if it doesn't end because you fall out of love with someone, or you no longer like them, but because you die or they die. And then third, how am I doing there? Third, life is aimed at death. Life is aimed at separation. The high of being alive will lead to death. That's the only result. The destination of life is death. The sixth suffering, no more yang. The sixth suffering is drok mepa. Drok mepa. Drok means companion or friend. Companion. And mepa, we had earlier, that means doesn't exist. So the sixth suffering is we have no companion. We are alone. There are we often think when we first come into contact with these teachings, like, oh, um, can I take away the suffering of other people? Like my mom has cancer. Take that, I want to take that away from her. Can I do that? Can I do prayers for her? Is there a practice I can do that I would take that away from her so she won't suffer anymore? We can't. Every action we're doing, planting seeds, planting the potential for a future experience. Every experience we have is the ripening, the manifestation of those potentials from things we did in the past. We are planting and experiencing the ripening of seeds constantly. We don't have karma. We are karma. I can't, no one can take karma away from someone else. No one can share karma with someone else. We are uh, we are completely alone. That we have communication with anyone, it's all ripening of karma. It's ripening of our karma. So we are all separate beings. The stream of our mind, which from the high school point of view is in that stream of instance of being clear and aware, is where the karmic seed, we call it a seed, but it's not a physical thing. The karmic potential is replicated in every instant over this stream of time until it ripens into an experience. And we, each of us, have our own stream. We are, each of us, alone. We have no companion. Now, where does Arya Nagarjuna talks about this, and he says we should be very careful to never do a bad deed on behalf of someone else. Never, because Um, because the only one who will experience the results of that bad deed will be us. So don't do anything that is a negative action, will bring suffering to someone in the future. Don't do it for our friends. Don't do it for our parents. Don't do it for our teachers. We should focus all of our attention and energy on working with our own minds. Now, does this mean we don't help other people? No, because we have the experience of there being other people who need our help. So we should help them. And we should not judge other people. And we should not do negative things in order to help other people. Because it is us alone who will experience those results. And those actions will keep us from reaching that highest state of full enlightenment, the only state from which we will be able to help other people. Which is done through teaching. Because we cannot, just as we can't take someone else's karma away from them, an enlightened being can't take negative karma away from us, or she would have done it already. So those are the 6 sufferings. And now we know all we need to know about being human and being a pleasure being. Because they have these 6 sufferings. Anybody have any questions? Are you ready for the suffering of this class to end? Ready to move on to your next suffering? No, truly, may everything that we've talked about here may it be an inspiration for us to take advantage of this precious life we have, to put teachings into practice so that we can be of benefit to other people. May it be so. Oh, it just turned 15 after. So I'll just say quickly, thank you all for being here. I'm so grateful for your participation. and your interest. Thank you, live translators. Thank you, ACI volunteers and staff. Thank you, Geshe Michael. And have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you again next Wednesday. Don't forget to dedicate, though. Please, don't let these seeds go to waste into some sort of happy experience. Have it ripen into full and total enlightenment. Okay, see you next week.
Thank you, teacher.